Okay, so let me start today's class. What we are looking at, well, actually, what we should start is the package that I distributed. Why did sigh? Why? What happened? Some. If you take a look at this one, we do have the administrative work, John Park's papers, and the program, raw data, and reading material. And finally, we have searching and theorizing. And so if you click on that, the first one, searching, linking, EndNote and NVivo R1 literature review framework matrix. From here, we took a look at a couple of things about the research, relevant literature, and things like that. So the first one is about English teaching journal. The second one is an NVivo related one. So if I click on the English teaching journal, I can search millions of things. And so open again, and well, it's kind of having trouble to finding out. Usually, if I click on the document, I can find that one here. So I'm looking for the title, English teaching and things like that. Oh, God. Because of moving from here and there, this one is having trouble with finding that one. Okay, recently I changed the title, and so that could affect the way I could get to the right end data. Let me open existing library, and automatically in my computer it's all under the download, but obviously that's not the download, and so I click on the document here, and if I click on the document, I should have something related one, Tissel quarterly and things like that. But again, this one is about the I see what does that mean. Those are the assignments that I distributed to you, and the reason why I'm having trouble with finding the right one is because of the work that I had before. So the work that I had before is not here, but another big hard disk. So I should go there and I should get the link again. So that's why I'm having trouble. But if for your case, I think you could find the these journals with no problem at all, because only if you didn't move from here and there. But for my case, for the presentation sake, I moved the here and there and here and there and like that. So that's why I'm having trouble to find this one. For this case, well, usually rather than doing that, if I really want that one, maybe I could go to the this one and annual program and things like that. Let's see. Sorry again, I couldn't find it. Anyway, I'm gonna bring the memory stick later, and I'm gonna do this one again for the presentation sake. Instead of doing that, let me move on to NVivo R1 workshop again, and here we do have a searching and theorizing. So click on the searching and theorizing, searching one. here English teaching journal and NVivo related literature and things like that. And right here, do you see the framework matrix? Are you with me?
Yeah. Yes.
If you double click that, that will bring up the project, okay? So framework matrix. And ask you, click on next and upgrade, then you can upgrade it. So take some time, but it's okay. So framework matrix. When I say framework, it should have a row and column. And so let's take a look at the data and trimming it. TrueScott and HSU, shoe, shoe.
Yeah, it's 修饰
I have to delete that one because that is nothing to do with the error correction that we are going to look at. So I'm going to delete that one. I don't need this one anymore. And I'm looking for the error correction. But if you take a look at this one, this got 0 and also 0 again. Let me delete that one. Delete. Yeah. And so I have a B channel. Seems to be the same thing, right? B channel to all. So I'm gonna delete that one again. So I only have Truscada shoe, Alice error, and B channel error. So they talk about the error correction. Are you familiar with the word error correction?
correcting error.
Correcting errors.
I don't know what
Errors for what?
I don't know.
For this case, students writing, okay? Every day, student creates a lot of errors. And I live for that. I'm an error collector. And so let's click on the TrueScott and sure. So if I click on that, you see the paper, the actual paper there. And so error correction, revision, and learning, John Truscott, Angela Yifeng Shi, SHU, Shi, Je,
Yes.
yeah. So every paper has the abstract. So let me take a look at the abstract. Previous research has shown that corrective feedback on an assignment helps learners reduce their errors on that assignment during the revision process. So, what is the meaning of revision?
To revise them.
Revise them. Who revise?
You do.
Student or teachers?
Teacher. Well, and teachers and students.
Teacher can provide the feedback, and based upon the feedback, students revise their work. Yes. So, previous research has shown that corrective feedback on an assignment helps learners reduce their errors on that assignment during the revision process. Who revise? Student. Right. Okay. So, does this finding constitute evidence that learning resulted from the feedback? Different answers play an important role in the ongoing debate over the effectiveness of error correction, suggesting a need for empirical investigation. In this study, learners first wrote in an in-class narrative and then revised their writing during the next class. Half the students had their errors underlined and used this feedback in the revision task, while the other half did the same task without feedback. Okay, so results matched those of previous studies. The underlying group was significantly more successful than the control group. 1 week later, all students wrote a new narrative as a measure of learning. On this measure, change in error rate from the first narrative to the second, the two groups were virtually identical. Thus, successful error reduction during revision is not a predictor of learning, at least for the uncoded corrective feedback that has typified studies in this area, as the two groups differ dramatically on the former but were indistinguishable on the latter. Improvements made during revision are not evidence on the evidence effectiveness of correction for improving learners' writing ability. Uh, I import their paper to NVivo, and I read this, and so every time I read this, if I find something important to me, then I code it. So if you click this one, I can see all the codings done for this paper. And if I scroll down, those are the codings that I had for my purpose. So this for this part talks about the topic of the study, and so one clear conclusion from this research is that teachers' corrections do indeed help learners reduce their errors. The revised manuscript of students who received it showed significantly more improvement in accuracy than those of students who did not receive it. This research also produced a number of interesting findings on related issues, such as the relation between feedback on form and feedback on content or timing of the two types. So after reading this one, I coded like topic of my research, because based upon this one, I can do follow-up studies, or I can do many things. So I think this study is very important to me. So I called it like that. Okay. Another one, my future study, as like that. So for this case, I coded how many coded I made? Four. Okay. So four codings. So when I write my paper, I'm gonna refer to here, and maybe I can mention about this, mention these things like that. This is what I did in Truscott and Shu's paper. Alice et al. Yeah, I like Alice. Alice, have you met Alice before?
No.
Rod Alice, a very arrogant guy, never answer nicely to students' questions. That's the impression that I made. Alice et al. The effects of focused and unfocused written corrective feedback in an English as a foreign language context. So, Rod Alice, Young Shen, Mihoko, Murakami, Hyde, Takashima. So, Takashima, are you familiar with him? Takashima? Takashima. Takashima. In Korean words, Takashima. Okay. But anyway, so here again, the same thing, abstract. So when you import the paper into NVivo, you have to take a look at the abstract, and you have to decide whether this paper is relevant to my study or not by reading the abstract. And then here abstract, they got everything about study, participants, results, and things like that. So you can take a look at it, and you have to decide whether you take this article or not, okay? And so from here, I coded two, okay? So if I want to take a look at my coding, then again, click this one and make it all. Then it will show me the coding that I made, like the results of the study and things like that. Here I code, okay, I this one, I want to see this one. Oh yeah. And so one for study results coded, and let me scroll down the another one. So this one, and so I only coded two from this article, which is meaningful to my study. That way you can open up the paper and read and decide which part of the coding is necessary for your study, for your future studies. And this process, okay, Bichner, in our field, Bichner, well, Truscott, Ellis, Bichner, our famous scholars working on the corrective feedback anyway, but in Bichner's article, I have 5 codes here, 5, so if I click on that, or I see from the Bichner article, I coded the study results, error reduction, control group. They don't have control group here, which is the problem. And error reduction during revision. So if I click on that, are you with me? Yes. Okay. I read an article and I code them, and the purpose to quote my paper later, and things like that. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Why sad face? So it's like if I click on that, you see error reduction during revision is not a measure of learning, things like that. Run out of the battery. Another battery down there. Yeah. Run out. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So here we can see code numbers here 4, 2, 5, and again references right here. And if I conduct the literature review, most of the people do this one manually. Okay, they read the article and write down something on their notebook and read and read and read and read. And then when they finish all the reading, then they need to start writing up. But they tend to forget about their reading, or direction, or insight, or things like that. It's gone after reading everything. So that's what we call writer's block, okay? And if you conduct your literature review like this, by using NVivo, you can do it more easily and efficiently, okay? In order to do that, you need to create a table telling you that maybe you have to put the order like that. So what we have to do is to create case right here. So I'm gonna create the case for my paper that I have read, and then click on the right side of the mouse right here. If you scroll down here, create as create educations. Are you here?
So highlight them all. Highlight all three.
Highlight them all, and then click on your mouse right side, and then you see a couple of choices right here, and then create as and create educations. Are you here?
Then click OK.
And click OK. Then ask you where? Cases? Yes, okay. Then three papers in the files will be also seen at the caches. So if you click on the caches, you see three papers there. Okay? So file is there, and you create the caches for the file, and also caches you see the same thing here, and if you click on the file like that. And so what I'm gonna do is the search, and the search is like row and column things. So you need to make it row and column. And first of all, you need to go to create. If you go to create, there is a framework matrix, okay? Are you here?
Yes.
And if you click on that, it will ask you, what is this about? You can say literature review. Literature review, okay? And then you need to select row and column. In the row, click on the row, you have to select that. So what do you want to select? I want to select the cases, three papers, okay? I want to select this one. So check on. Three papers in the cases, okay? And then click OK. And in the column, what I want to do is the coding that I made on that document, on three papers. So I can check mark. Those are the codings that I have done. So it's like check mark. And I can click OK. And so if you click on the row, the papers, if you click on the columns, there are the codings that I created out of three papers, okay? And then I can click OK. Then it will show you row and column things like that. Row. If you take a look at this or scroll down, you can see the list of the papers that I read. And if you look at the upper side, you can see the codings that I made. Okay, so a lot of coding here. And if you look at this one, you can see a long codings that I made. And this is not my purpose. My purpose is the to make it short, to make it concise enough to borrow this information very quickly during my work. So in order to do that, what you need is the auto summarize function here. And so see also not the, yeah, this one. This is the auto summarize. So if you click on that, it will summarize. It will summarize this one. Okay, and so you see the coding and summary of my coding right here, and so you can export this one by simply click on export framework matrix. And if you click that one, in my computer, literature review, I can save it, okay? Then I can see from my screen right here, literature review. If you click on the Excel file here, you will see neatly written list like that. Okay, so if you look at this one, you see the three writers here, right here. These three writers, 1 to 3, and the codings that I made. And if I take a look at here, uh, regarding the criticism toward Truscott, no one did it actually, okay? And talking about the topic of the research, yeah, this person, this also talks about this one. So, and control group. I'm gonna change this one as English so that you can see more clearly, read, okay? But one thing obvious from this result is that we see some filled with the wording and some nothing, okay? So
How do you auto summarize?
that's tricky part, but okay, let me show you again. Um, because this is I have already done, so let's review again. Just click that down and let me do it again. So create framework matrix and lit. I'd call it as lit and row. Obviously the same one. Okay. So I need a Beechner Ellis Truscott article, and then column select the coding that I created like that, and okay, and then click OK. Then it will give you the finding like that, okay? And so if you click that one, do you see this one? Do you, huh? Just click the section here. If you click that one, or if you click that one. Here I have a picture and error reduction during revision and blah blah. Why don't you simply click on that one?
It's not highlighted. It won't allow me to click it.
Well, so it's like row and column. If you follow exactly row and column, if you select right, you should have this one. This one, error reduction, beachon, or vice versa. Row and column doesn't matter. You can choose anything as row and column.
I've got all that. I just don't have any data inside.
Okay, let's.
This button here.
Just click this one. So you see this one.
This button here.
Auto summarize. Why framework matrix and why export to Excel? Well, I think this is good for co-work, okay? When you work together, some person may not have NVivo. And if you're the only person who have NVivo, well, you can read and read and read, and then you can code here NVivo, and then you can do the framework matrix, and then you will get this result. And then you can export it to Excel. And so again, three writers there, and the coding that you created here. And so by distributing this result to your colleague, you can discuss, okay? You can share your reading. And also, if you would like to propose something in a conference or in our conference, in our department, let's say you would like to propose your dissertation, and when you talk about your understanding about the relevant literature, you can show your student advisor, or you can show your participant or audience by showing this one. And you can say, look, I read 3 articles, and my interest was such and such and such, and you see many wordings here, but as well as you see blank part here, okay? So those could be the need for the study, okay? Because no one touched this one. And so logically, you could defend your research proposal. Look, I have read millions of books and coded, and according to my coding, some people responded, some researchers responded a lot, but for this case, rarely people address the issue. So I need to do the research about this one. Am I clear enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is excellent tool for your presentation, conference, paper, dissertation, anything related about the literature review, the results of your literature review. Okay. What makes you so laugh? Okay, let me close that down. Uh, Related this issue today, I'm gonna introduce a very interesting and practical issues. Um, okay, so let me click on the NVivo. Did you receive my NVivo project yesterday? All of you? I sent you the framework matrix exercise yesterday, the project that I'm working on. And so let's take a look at this one. If you have one, click on that. In NVivo, whatever you do, okay, let's see right here, files, under the name of the data file, I wrote my memo here, okay? So my research memo. If I click on that, so I wrote down what I'm gonna do today and what I want to share and things like that. So it's like research reflection, memo, or things like that. Well, I imported project written character feedback, WCF in general, and also I imported the writing class, not 20, but 22, which is now. And in NVivo, when you revise something, you should put the check mark here, edit, and if not, you cannot do anything. So check mark, edit, and so if I check mark, edit, I can change this one as the 22. So my writing class 2022, I teach writing here, and my students are from English majors or uh, general education, so non-English major students. And so today I'm going to show you the data from here and also WCF in general. And so we are going to do a couple of the searches and get the answer here. And so first of all, I guess we need to take a look at the data in general, okay? So what we got is files, obviously, and so every time you bring up the data, you do have files right here, and if I click on the files, I have files like so student voices for revision and my suggestion. This is about students' reaction toward my feedback and telling me what they need, and they talk about the good things and bad things as well. And right word, wrong word. Well, this is the famous book talking about the. Let me show you. So right word, wrong word, things like that. You don't have this one because I just updated this one. So this is the book about right word, wrong word, and things like that. So let me just take a look at this one, the first part of this one. They talk about the group, intermediate level, not the beginner, not the advanced, but so they divide like social changes and things like that. I think this is an excellent source for the student who may have not clear word choices, like so when we can say like travel, tour, and what exclusion or things like that. We can use many words, and so what this one does is we show the difference, the meaning difference, the nuance. So I think this is very beneficial for English for second language users or not. Right here, the writer talks about the difference between about and around. So few people can afford to go on a cruise around the world, not about. Okay, around for circular movement. They've built a motorway around London and things like that. So first of all, they define the exact meaning of the word, and the best thing about this one is the exercise. So if I scroll that down, you see the exercises here. Okay, let me pick up just one. Uh, like talk about social exchanges as well, asking, requesting, commanding. What would you say in these situations? Supply the best word or words. You are calling your dog. You say, approach, come here, go near. What? Huh? Come here. Yes, like that. And so, oh yeah. Um, 6. How do you pronounce the first figure in this number? 071 3725. Oh, near, love, now. Huh? What does that mean?
Oh,
Oh,
usually
usually oh?
some of my friends say not more.
Right. Thank you. So like that. So they talk about the social exchanges and figure out the proper word to say, which is relevant to intermediate level learners. Okay, and another another document. I'm sorry. Uh, and, okay, let's see. And reference for academic writing. This is the source, the reference source. Those sources are needed for my students because after revision, after the revision and conversation, uh, they would like to learn about English grammar in general, especially article is very hard for them to get. And so I recommend them to read this book, Commentary for Academic Writing for Graduate Students. It's for graduate students, but I think this is one of the best books explaining about article use. So, well, for my uh, students' sake, this might be a good resource. And my research memo you are looking at here, and the learner voices. The learner voices are, so these are what they say, okay, after the feedback. Uh, the benefits are noticing errors. They notice the errors. So the number here is the respondent of my writing students. Number 4, the toppest one, noticing errors. So they told me that from the feedback process, obviously they noticed the errors, okay? And talks about benefits about the feedback, but the problem is again, right here, challenges. What are the most challenging things for them to say? Well, number 4, the best one, title. In the writing, providing the title is one of the hardest thing to do. And so my suggestion, why don't you take a look at my lecture, cubing, talking about cubing. From there, I talk about the how to write title, capital letter and things like that. So if they go to LMS, they will see what they should do. So talking about challenges, they got many challenges right here, and I provide the solution to how. And so title, go back to elements, my lecture talking about cubing again, and appropriate words. Uh, 3 students responded like it's really hard to pick up right word to say. My suggestion right here in the internet, if you go to a library, Jet library, you will get the book for free. Remember the book that I showed you before? Right word, wrong word. That book is from that library for free. So I guided them go to the library and get the book for free. And so for those who have trouble with picking up right word to write, then they need to exercise. Okay, so they need to get the book and do the exercise. And talk about the article. 2 students responded that it's really hard to get article in English writing, and my suggestion, go to library and pick up the book writing for the graduate students, the one that I showed you before. There are a whole bunch of explanations on articles and exercises. And scope of revision. Some students too wonder about the my feedback scope. Will there be accuracy, or will there be fluency? Will there be many things? So when we assess students' writing, we do have what? let me ask you, when you say someone is good at writing, or when someone is poor at writing, on what basis are you telling that?
A few things. I guess firstly would be their grammar,
Grammar, okay.
then the use of vocabulary,
Vocabulary,
punctuation,
punctuation.
and then in regards to, then you get into the more nitty-gritty, like what kind of words are they using. So whether they're using big words, small words, or the length of sentences.
Okay. In the field of second language writing, we have developed rubric criteria in assessing students' writing to find out who is the best writer or who is the poor writer. And so here, right here, if I click on the code, uh, error analysis from writing, if I click on that, right here, usually the errors were considered as three domains, like global errors, local errors, and mechanics. When we say mechanic errors, it's like abbreviation errors, capitalization, centralizing, comma, hyphen, paragraph indentation, paragraph period and quotation, question mark, and things like that. When we say global errors, usually it talks about the errors which impede communication. For example, uh, right here, let me show you student-made errors in the domain of the global. So usually meaning might be the best example. So if I click on the meaning, you see the global errors. And let me show you. My student obviously made a lot of meaning errors here. So if I click on that, it will guide you the whole writing. This one. Lastly, comfortability is what makes people to continue to buy more products for the company. The company named Apple is a good example. Apple sells iPhone, iPad, MacBook. These all are comparable. When using iPhone, information also gets stored to other products. What does that mean? Information also get stored to other products.
Oh, it's a grammatical error there.
So we should cut out S here. Information also gets stores to other products.
A D at the end to make it a verb, past tense verb.
Right. So not to mention the grammar.
And capital letter.
But the capital letter and also the meaning, I don't understand.
Okay.
And we buy things on the unique after sales service and compatibility. What does that mean? Do you understand?
Yes.
I don't understand at all.
Okay.
We buy things on the unique after sales service and compatibility. Maybe I can say like we buy things on the condition that the product has uniqueness, after sales, service, and compatibility. That's my suggestion. That seems to be more clear, much clearer than this one. So, like this way, students made errors like that, okay? They do made errors, meaning errors, and things like that. And so, talking about the writing, and assessment, we do have global errors and we do have local errors and mechanics. So, well, those kind of assessment has been quite tremendously accepted from writing teachers, including me. So when I see students writing, I do have a criteria in assessing them, right? Like global, local, mechanics, and if you click on that, you can see like under the global, we have redundancy errors, parallelism, meaning, and things like that. And local errors, what we meant by local errors, well, that you say something, and that does not impede communication, but grammatically, that one has a lot of problem. And so, grammatically speaking, like adjective, adverb, agreement, and things like that, positive, blah, blah, blah. And finally, the mechanic errors, okay? Like that. So, those are the rubric when we assess students' writing.
So was that again? Local errors, mechanical errors, and
Right here, local, mechanics, and the global errors. Okay? So, and this one includes everything like grammar, content, and organization. So, look at three basic things in writing. And those rubric has been used by a lot of scholars, including me. So by using this one, I judge a person's writing as a poor or good or intermediate. So we can get the score out of here. Okay? Like I said,